So we're talking about no more CPAP, I guess sleep apnea. Dentists across the country now, I guess, have training in helping people get off that CPAP and getting a better night's sleep. How does it work?
Yeah, so I was telling you my brother's an anesthesiologist.
Okay.
His job is to maintain an airway. So the medical community has reached out to the dental community now and says, like, look, you see your patients anywhere from 2 to 4 times a year. You're looking down their airway all the time. Look for these things. So we see a lot of signs and symptoms on our patients all of the time. And what we do is we either send them to someone for a CPAP. Most of them come back a year later. It's like, look, I tried the CPAP. I can't wear that thing. Let's figure out a better way to open that airway.
You said like 60% of the people don't like to wear their CPAP.
Yeah.
So they don't use it.
Yeah. And sleep apnea is also 85% undiagnosed. We're finding sleep apnea in young children. So when the children aren't in a deep enough level of sleep, they're actually bedwetting into ages where it's inappropriate to be wetting their sheets.
Okay.
And the reason why is they're just not in a deep enough level of sleep so the bladder doesn't turn off. So what we also see then in adults is, I'm moderate apnea. So when I started sending my patients to get sleep tests 7 years ago, I decided, do the experience myself, figure out what my patients are actually going through. So I went to the sleep center, hooked up all the electrodes on me, had someone watching me on a camera, not sleeping in my own bed. And now, the technology is so much better. We have a home test in our office. We send it home with you. Something fits on your finger, fits on your wrist, a little pad goes on your sternum. You sleep at home. You bring it back to me the next day, we get the reports generated.
Is it true that you say people are waking up like 10, 20 times in 1 hour?
You would be surprised.
Like you think you're sleeping, but you're not.
You think you're sleeping. It's not like you have to wake up and gasp for air. That's a complete obstruction in your body, wakes you up violently to make you breathe. But you could be desaturating from 90% to 70, back to 90, down to 60, back to 90, down to 80. And you could do that 30 times a minute. And so people wake up, they're not rested, they're not fully functioning, they can't give everything they can to their families. So then what we do is we take these patients, we make them a simple oral appliance, it opens up the airway, it protects their teeth from grinding. If we do a lot of dentistry for them, it protects their investment in their dental work. It solves 3 problems at once while opening their airway and giving them a better restful sleep.
So they're breathing okay during the day, but when they lay down, their jaw's dropping back, their tongue's dropping back, and you just kind of move it forward with a dental
The
appliance.
airway is very dynamic. As soon as you lay down, the airway in itself can collapse a little bit. The tongue goes backward, the lower jaw goes backwards, just like you said, Randy. So we give them an appliance that keeps all of that forward. If you ever have to give anyone CPR, they say, open the airway, pull that chin up and out. It's the same kind of technique. It's that oral appliance is opening that airway for that person while they sleep and they can't maintain their own airway.
Now, the snoring. Does that also go away for many of these people?
The wives love us because of that. When we talk about this with them, the husbands come in the next week because the wife is like, look, this is not only going to make you healthier, if we look at the long run, it's going to decrease your incidence of all these other medical conditions because you're not breathing properly, but then I get to sleep properly at night. It's going to fix the snoring, it's going to fix the airway, it's going to decrease chances of cardiovascular disease and neurologic issues due to inadequate oxygen in the future. Seldom do we have a win-win-win-win-win and a win for the spouse, but when treating sleep apnea with these simple oral appliances, it tends that everyone wins.